I want to talk about my wife this morning. We met each other online. She came to see me. I was already living on my boat. We didn't necessarily hit it off. It wasn't love at the first sight, I don't think. But there was definitely something there. She's from Canada, so she would go back to Canada. And then we kind of stopped communicating with each other for a good 3, maybe 4 years. And then when pandemic started, I think she was the one who reached out. And I was very happy. And we started talking. And suddenly our correspondence, our conversations got more on an intimate side. And we were getting more and more excited about talking to each other. And then she decided to come. I suggested, why doesn't she fly to Bahamas, go to Bimini, and I'll pick her up? And she did, and she came to Bimini, but the wind wasn't right and the weather wasn't right, so I decided not to go sailing. It was a little dangerous, and I would have done it by myself. So we decided for her to take a ferry. She took a ferry. When she arrived and I saw her, she just jumped on me. I have a bad back. I thought I would pull my back. I had to hold her because she just wrapped herself around me and squeezed me so tight. I was shocked. And when she came on the boat, we were so excited to see each other and we just hit it off and spent amazing. I think she came for a week. It was an amazing week. I My boat was in Miami Beach at the time in Sunset Harbor. Miami Beach government kicked us all out of there. But back then it was beautiful, living for free in the heart of Miami Beach. So then, when she was leaving, going back to uh, Nassau, that's where she flew, and she had to fly back out of Nassau, Bahamas. I said, "Why don't I give you a ride on a sailboat back?" I was kind of thinking that I want to introduce her to sailing, but I have to do it right. I don't want any storms. I don't want boat breaking. I don't want all that. There's adrenaline spikes, as AI calls it, I've been having lately. And I had a little bit of money saved, not much. If I would take this trip, probably most of the money would go onto this trip because I really wanted to make it a sailing trip that she would remember for the rest of her life. So she said, okay, and we set sail. We got to Bimini, which is the first island, Bahamian Island, 50 miles from Miami. And I checked the weather, and the weather wasn't really good. Strong winds, maybe storms. So I told her that we need to wait for the weather window. And when the weather opened up for us, we went towards Nassau by way of Chub Key, which is a little key that's part of the Berry Islands. And you have to go from Bimini to Chub Key through I think it's called Great Bahamian Plain, which is almost like 150 miles of the cleanest water you've ever seen, and it's 10 feet deep all the way, except right before the Chubkey, there's this drop to like 9,000 feet. But it's only a short distance, maybe 15 miles or something like that. So, in other words, when you're going through the Great Bahamian Plain, you can drop anchor anywhere at any time. And the sun was shining, and the sky was blue, and the wind was being reached, which coming from the side, which perfect wind, and it was magical. We'd drop anchor, I'd prepare dinner, we would eat, watch a TV show, make love, and then when we arrived to Chubkey, there was this private marina. The whole Chubkey was private. You had to get a membership. Not expensive, I think $40 a person. And she just loved Chubkey. It was like that little resort, that little marina. It was absolutely gorgeous. I just watched her face, having that constant smile, that happiness and joy smile. Unfortunately, we stayed there for 2 days because a strong wind was coming. And this time I couldn't wait, like 27-mile-an-hour wind, 30-mile-an-hour winds. And I couldn't wait because of her flight from Nassau. Now that I'm thinking, I should have changed the flight. Usually it's $100 extra, and just stayed in Chubkey for a whole week. Because when we got to, so we had to leave. I decided, made the captain's decision to leave. And beautiful weather, smooth sailing to Nassau. We arrived a little early. We stayed in Nassau for a few days. Before she was flying and flew away, we had this conversation when, she realized that I did spend a lot of money. And she said, you spend a lot of money. You should have invested that money into something. And I said, I just did. I invested in something that probably would be the best thing I've ever invested in. Maybe I said that, something like that, maybe not, but this is what I thought, this is what I meant in my memory right now. And it was the most amazing investment in my life because we ended up getting married and still totally in love with each other. And I introduced her to sailing the right way. We had no drama, there was no storms, it was smooth sailing all the way. And I believe she totally loved it. And I believe that I did the right thing for once in my life when it came to a relationship. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to myself.